For any die-hard car guy, we always make sure to have a neat set of sockets, ratchets, and extensions. Most of our jobs can get done with these kinds of tools, but today I'm going to show you guys my top 5 tools that I think are must-haves for any wrencher's toolbox. Welcome back to the nightclub, guys. I'm your host, Nightwrencher. I'm really glad to be back. I've been on hiatus for a couple months, and truth be told, my old camera broke, and I've been running it with a bunch of personal problems, with a lot of little different things. But for the most part, everything's more than sorted out. Right now, my schedule's starting to free up quite a bit, and I'm working on a few projects as well. I'll be uploading shortly a couple projects that I've been accumulating for these last couple months, and I'm really excited to get things done. Today, I want to talk about the top 5 tools that I think are must-haves for any either inexperienced or experienced car guy that could always use that little extra push when it comes to tools and firepower. And although these are relatively inexpensive and easy to get tools, I find that they're essential for most jobs out there that require any kind of helping hand. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The tools I'm actually talking about today are these ones right here. Oh, not this one, right? These ones actually over here. Yeah, these ones right here. These seemingly common household tools actually hold a remarkable value to me in terms of versatility and overall efficiency. Starting this list at number 5, I'm going to add these Harbor Freight Prybars. These, I believe they cost me around $10 for the entire set. I believe there's supposed to be 5 of them. I might have lost one sometime down the road. But as you can see, they've actually got a pretty good amount of use on them, and they're still perfectly straight. They hold their tension really well. I've used them to pull apart connections that I can't reach, to pull off transmissions from bell housing and engines, certain pulleys, intake manifolds, you name it. For these, I use these for a pretty good amount of jobs. Every once in a while, I use them to help me install serpentine belts. After you get yourself a set of these, and you realize that it's super easy to take off ball joints and suspension and everything like that, you're gonna be glad that you got yourself one of these. And for a measly $10. Next on our list, we've got hammers. And a lot of you guys are saying hammers. Well, yeah, everybody has and needs a hammer, right? Well, these are pretty not special hammers, but these are hammers that I think that would actually help most people. Let's start with the hammer on the right. This is a regular sledgehammer. It's about a 5-pound hammer. Pretty light, pretty easy to use. These are awesome when in combination with Prybars and such, where you need the extra weight to shake ball joints loose, to shake suspension arms out of the way. It's just an overall good tool to have. Those pesky big bolts that you can't really push out and they won't come out with the gun, you can easily put another bolt to the other side and whack it with this hammer, and they're going to come right out. So if you guys don't have yourself a sledgehammer, you should probably go out and get one. I believe when I bought mine at Home Depot, it was like $7, so it's not too bad. On the left, I've got a ball peen hammer, and the difference between this one and this one is basically that this one's a lighter hammer. I believe this one's about 3 pounds. And what it loses in weight, it makes up for in versatility. The head, although it doesn't look very small, the point of impact is a little bit smaller, so you can get a little bit more focused punch on it, a little bit more solid. My favorite part about this is actually the rounded end, the whole ball peen part. And the reason for this is that this is less likely to damage parts. You can see that, if I can focus, that it's got a pretty good amount of abuse, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. These tools, I use them anytime there's a suspension job, even simple things such as brakes. I always end up using these hammers, and they've always come in handy. Okay, coming in at halfway down the list, number 3. These are ratcheting channel lock pliers. The difference between these ratcheting pliers and, say, these old school channel lock pliers is actually in the ratcheting action that's built in. Most of these ratcheting pliers have a button that has the adjust. You can do it with one hand, you can do it with 2 hands, but when it's all the way open, you can close it down easily with your thumb. Also, the heads are almost always shaped in this diamond pattern, so you can grab bolts a lot easier. These are more of a general use type deal, mainly for pipe. They work really well unless you happen to catch it in between a groove and you pinch yourself right here in between your palms. I've actually got a blister. Where is it? I can't see it. I got a blister on my hand from one of these that I went to go grab it, and it was like this, and I went to go, I was pushing, and it slipped out of its thing, and it just slammed my finger, and it was a mess. These I've never had any kind of issue with. The teeth do get worn out, but most places where you buy them, they have some sort of lifetime warranty. These are awesome. I've used them to hold struts. The little tube that goes down the middle while you're taking off the nut on the top. These work great for that. They're great for taking off hoses. They're great for taking off hose clamps. They're great for pretty much anything, really. And I use them quite a bit. You can definitely tell these things used to be blue and yellow, and now there's hints of yellow and corrosion and just nasty stuff all over them. But you can get them at Home Depot or Sears for about $10 for 2 different size ones, and I think you guys should definitely go and run and get yourself a set. Getting close to the end here, we've got Wobbles. Many of you guys might not be familiar, but these are wobble extension sockets and a U-joint. These, when I first started working as a tech for a European car repair shop, I seemed to notice that this was one of my most used tools at the time, and it's because the way cars are built nowadays, you almost have a straight shot on most parts because of how well designed and clean the engines are, but at the very end there's always a slight curve or the slight crevice, so you gotta sneak into, and most oftentimes you could only do it with these kinds of things. So I have actually 3 kinds of wobbles here. The first kind would be wobble extensions. They don't move. These are you can buy these at any length, starting from small to big. This one's a Snap-on one. This one's a Harbor Freight one. You can buy them fairly cheaply from Harbor Freight. The Snap-on ones are going to cost you quite a bit, but I haven't had any problems with the Harbor Freight one. These are awesome. What happens is, instead of having a nice square tip, these have kind of like a diamond shaped tip, if I can focus. There we go. And what happens is that the socket will ride. It's being held from right here, but it'll ride right on the bottom edge of this, and it'll allow a little bit of movement on top. Here's a 17mm socket that I just put on to show you as an example. It's supposed to do this, and when you go to play with it and you need that slight angle up or down or left and right or anything, it'll let you move in a way so that way you can successfully take out certain bolts without stripping them or stressing out your tools. Next on my list would be the Wobble U-joint, and what this is, it's 3 pieces. There's a center piece, there's a top piece, and there's a bottom piece, and this it moves freely from C to C. Basically does this. And what these do is it offers the same thing as this, just with a little bit more flexibility and a little bit more compactness, I would say. The reason I have tape around it is actually a trick that I learned when I was working at the Mercedes place, and it is to prevent it from, when you are doing something with it, it'll hold its shape even if you start spinning it, and it actually helps quite a bit to keep your sockets aligned, especially since we're using a lot of Torx, a lot of hex, so we need everything square on without it damaging the bolts, because bolts for those cars can get really expensive. So these are pretty awesome. Last on my Wobbles, I've actually got Wobble sockets. This happens to be a snap-on socket. You can get these at Harbor Freight. These have pretty much the benefits of all of them, except for the fact that these are non-serviceable. At least the snap-on ones are. The Harbor Freight are. They have a little spring on the bottom that'll let you do it. These offer a pretty wide angle for you to work around. I've used these for countless things, countless things, so much so that you could see that I've just worn out the bottom of it. I believe this is a 17 millimeter. They're awesome tools. They're black metal, so they're impact. The ones at Harbor Freight, I noticed that they happen to break the spring on the bottom and they come apart. But performance wise, they do really well. For a socket of that value, this set, the snap-on set, I believe it came with 10 pieces, and I believe it was $150 or so. I don't quote me on that, but I think that's what it was. And the Harbor Freight one's like $10 or $15. So to try it out, I would go ahead and buy the Harbor Freight ones. They're not too bad at all, and if you guys end up liking them, you might want to step up to the more expensive tools later down the road. But as for Wobbles go, these are just perfect. Last but definitely not least, we have a mini ratchet. This is a 3/8 drive, which is what you guys should be getting. I have it next to the infamous 10 millimeter socket. This is actually a wrench from, I believe it was either O'Reilly Auto Parts or it was from AutoZone. I believe it cost me about $7, and it's actually really well built. If you can listen closely of how close the teeth are to each other, if I can get this to. So these are actually pretty well built. They're pretty sturdy. These are awesome for really tight places. They fit in your hand. They fit when you need to just stick it on and just spin it with your fingers, and it'll come right off. For torquing down bolts for water pump, these are awesome because of how small they are. You can't apply that much torque, and then do the final with either a torque wrench or a longer socket wrench. The reason I have a 3/8 drive one instead of a 1/4 inch drive one is because the 3/8 drive ones have the 3/8 drive gears on the inside, which is a lot more heavy duty. So what you can do is either use these and use a adapter for 3/8 to 1/4 inch, so you can use 1/4 inch, or you could just use a 1/4 inch socket. But these I can't even begin to describe or even tell you how many jobs this thing has saved me in. I definitely recommend you should go out and buy one. The one I do not recommend you buying are the ones that look like a knob, and the reason for that is they're from the ones that I've used, they're really poorly built. They're not as close to the teeth as these are. They're about the same price, and they just don't fit as well as you'd like them to. You can't apply as much torque as you can with these ones. Overall, these are great tools to have. Well, there you have it. There's my top 5. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. As I've told a few people in the comment section, I will have my 3VZ video up very soon. It's been good to see you guys again. Until next time, Nightwrencher, out.